record.
I'm going to push record. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight to our. So I'm excited to get going on this tonight. So just a review. Can everybody see the screen okay? I'm kind of having trouble. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of noise here. Is it your? Yeah.
Okay.
Something sounds like they're cutting in and out.
Yeah. I don't know. Last meeting I was cutting in and out a lot. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So charting our future. You guys are doing an awesome job. Thank you so much. Building for our success. Any questions? Anytime? I know the one thing that maybe if we have time, we can maybe have Patty go over Dropbox just a little bit. Because I know I had to.
What am I going over a little bit?
What?
Susan, are you on your computer or on your what do you want?
I'm on my computer.
Do you have a headset on?
No. We're having a really bad thunder and lightning storm here though.
Okay.
Why, am I cutting in and out?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. It might be better if you call in. I don't know if it'll be any better.
Hey everybody, I'm here, but I'm on my phone. I don't have audio on my computer.
Is that you, Liz?
Oh, it's Kim, Patty.
Oh, hi, Kim.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
I'm not getting audio on my computer. It's trying, but I keep getting. So I'm on the phone. Okay.
Okay, let me try calling in on the phone.
Patty, it sounds like somebody's typing.
Oh, now I got it. Okay. Oh, no, then I just lost it.
It's probably me typing because until we get started, I'm working on stuff for the mastermind this week. But let's be real here.
Can you hear me?
I got it. Awesome.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I got it. No, for some reason, I'm good.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I hear a lot of stuff in the background.
It might be me.
Patty, can you hear me?
I hear like typing.
You're typing, that's me. I'll stop as soon as we get started.
Okay, well, all right. So I was just wondering if later on, Patty, if we had time, if you could just go briefly over Dropbox for us. I don't know why I couldn't load that spreadsheet in there, but thank you, Rhoda, for getting that put in there. I appreciate that. But some of us are still kind of having some questions about Dropbox. So just wanted to bring that up, the question and answer time here. So Patty, thank you for your mentoring. Huge, huge. And just a reminder, guys, you can do anything, but not everything. Don't be that cowgirl. Do it on your own. Let's work as a team, and we are. We're doing awesome. We're making great progress. And here, just a reminder, everybody's phone numbers and their emails, they're right here, but they can also be found in Dropbox. And we will talk about our next scheduled meeting at the end here. Here's our little group within our group. Just a refresher here. And I just wanted to go over here some things that we talked about, our intent and our outcome. I wanted to leave those up. And what we had talked about. And the last meeting, we decided that we would submit for both to the larger dental codology consortium a screening code and verbiage for possible risk assessment code. So let's get busy talking about that. Screening code, some possible verbiage, just to get started, to get a kind of a basis of what we want to start looking at as far as what to kind of have laid out when we start working with our partner. So what does everybody have? What ideas? Lucy, was that you who sent me that email?
Yeah, yes, I just kind of did a superficial mock-up kind of thing of a code, but I have no idea what I'm doing, so I emailed it to you earlier yesterday.
Yeah. What? That was awesome. Why don't you read that?
Oh, let's see, I'm gonna have to bring it up. Hang on a second. Okay, so I didn't even know what code number we're looking at. Basically, I said DO1 question mark O, comprehensive head, neck, and oral pharyngeal evaluation, new or established patient. This procedure is for patients showing signs or symptoms of head, neck, or oral pharyngeal cancer, and for patients with risk factors determined by a risk assessment tool. It includes evaluation of the head, neck, and oropharynx, dental and health history, and general health and risk assessment. It may include using adjunctive screening devices as well as salivary testing.
Okay, if I can jump in here, this is Patty. First of all, one of the things that we need to understand is we do not assign the code number or the category or anything like that. This is, I'm just do a little lesson here. This is a really critical to understand because that is not even decided by the committee itself. That's not decided by the CMC. The CMC passes the codes, the new codes, the revisions and deletions, but then it's the internal committee, I guess it's really staff that decides where it's going to go. An example, there's sometimes it seems like, it's a logical thing that it's going to go into a certain section, but it was very pivotal when the 4346 code, the inflammation code, was not put in the preventive section. It was a very specific choice, and there's things about the coverage that comes up a certain way because it was put into the perio section rather than in the preventive section. Additionally, another example would be PerioProtect. PerioProtect it doesn't have its own code because products are not codes are not made for a product. But what it is that it's the only product procedure that fits under that code at this point. It was not all put in the perio section. A lot of politics behind that. It was put in the section, it was in the 5,000s, it's with other trades. But there's also the politics of AAP was not thrilled that that code passed. Therefore, there was some influence put behind it to not have it in the perio section. Okay, so that's just as a first thing. We don't decide where a code goes. Now, if you have that, who was it that read that code to us?
That was Lucy.
Lucy, do you have it? Because I could give you the screen readily, because I know there are so many words that I think we're all going to need to see them. And Susan, you don't have access to it readily?
I sent it to her in a Word doc.
That's all right. You know what, Lucy, you got it up on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you the screen then. You'll get a message that says you want to. It's going to say, "Hey, take the screen."
Okay.
Okay, you got to say yes. We'll let you know when you have it.
Okay, hang on a second. It says share, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Now
now
what?
make this, okay. You know what, can you make it bigger? Because I know it's not that big on my screen.
Okay, like just enlarge the size of it, the print?
You don't have to go that far. What you can do is just do your, on the bottom, see on your bottom, it says on the bottom right of your screen. No, you don't even bother with that. Just make the screen bigger. See
Oh,
it says
got it.
116 on the bottom?
Yep.
Yeah, just make it bigger
Yep.
that way. There you go. That's good. That's good. Okay, so.
And I didn't know that about the code, so thank you, the number.
I figured that lots of you don't. Again, this is part of the whole thing. It's the learning process.
This was just a stab in the dark.
Okay, now did you look at any of the other codes that we already have in the realm of screening or risk assessment? This is the screening code. This isn't the
Right.
risk assessment code, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I know I put in there that adjunctive screening devices, and there's already a code for that, and I think there's already codes for salivary testing, so that was just something I threw in because I, again, don't know what I'm doing. I kind of followed the comprehensive perio exam a little bit for wording. That was just kind of what I started with and then put this in, but like I said, I have no clue what I'm doing.
Lucy, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Seriously, none of us, this is all new to all of us. This is, and okay, so how do the rest of you feel about having the adjunctive screening and salivary testing in there?
This is Denise. I'm having trouble with the first line. This procedure is for patients showing signs or symptoms of head, neck, or oropharyngeal cancer.
But then it says, and for patients with risk factors.
I think maybe we should start with that because what this makes everybody look at is automatically thinking, okay, this isn't going to work. That if we put in there, this is for patients showing, not even showing, this is for patients with risk factors determined by a risk assessment tool, then go into why we did that screening. It includes the head, neck, or I don't even think we need to have showing signs or symptoms, because when we see a patient that's already showing signs or symptoms, they're already in a very late stage. So just the beginning factor is where my head went.
Yeah. Well, I kind of took it from the perio code, and that's the perio code says showing signs and symptoms for a comprehensive perio exam. So
Right, but is there a cancer the same as perio?
No, but I was just trying to come up with something. I'm not good at creating things out of the top of my
No,
head.
you did a great job, because you know what? You gave us a place to start, and that's the key, Lucy. You gave us a place to start.
Absolutely.
So this is to quit disking yourself. You did fantastic, okay?
Okay.
I'm written down.
Lucy, actually, you did it, so that's even better.
Thank you.
Because, okay,
I agree.
Let's up the bus and let's first look at the proposed nomenclature. The proposed nomenclature is comprehensive head, neck, or pharyngeal evaluation, newer established patients. Okay? How do we all feel about that just as the name of it to start?
I think we need to add oral, have comprehensive head, neck, oral, and oral pharyngeal evaluation.
I agree. Because it's not just the outside, because looking at, well, this just tells me head, neck, down the throat, but doesn't tell me look under the tongue, look under the vestibules, look on the cheeks, look on the palate. It doesn't explain that. But if you say oral, then that tells me that.
Okay,
Okay?
I stuck it in there.
Anybody else? Okay, let's move forward then. Is this procedure a screening procedure?
I have one thing. How about if we put on, I'm back to the first line again, I just thought of something. After established patient, something like non-age related.
Yes.
Yeah, that gets too wordy and that will get tossed out, Denise, I know.
Okay. Okay, just thinking, because I don't want people to think that we're screening people at a certain age limit, I wanted them to think that I'm screening everyone that sits down and looks in front of me. I don't care who's sitting in there. I don't care if you're 5. I'm still looking.
Then how about if we clarify it, and I'm just throwing this out, this is purely brainstorming. This screening procedure is for all patients with
Yeah.
risk factors. Okay?
Yep, I like it.
So I'm gonna jump in here and I'm gonna be devil's advocate here and say when it says patients with risk factors, I'm gonna say I don't think we should put that in there for the evaluation. And the reason why is we don't know for sure if they have risk factors or not.
Yes.
Is there a risk assessment being done, or is there not a risk assessment being done? And, you know, that has to be established for sure. I mean, we know there are risk factors, but I think if that's in there, that's potential for them to say, oh, well, they don't have risk factors, so they don't need to have this done.
And Susan, one step to what you just said, they don't always disclose their risk factors.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. So I think if you say this patient is for all, this procedure is for all patients.
Yes. What does everybody else feel about that? That's just my opinion.
I think this is
First of all, is this a comprehensive evaluation or is this a screening?
What's the difference, Patty?
Well, one is diagnostic, one is definitely a diagnostic. Screening is something else. It's just looking at it. Now, we know that this language is already in the comprehensive evaluation codes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it says,
Yeah.
I have it here. It is a thorough evaluation and recording of the extraoral and intraoral hard and soft tissues. So they're using the word evaluation.
Right, okay, so why is it that, because what that also means is, are we going to also propose, if we have this code, that the language that's in the comprehensive oral evaluation and other evaluations are removed?
Yes.
And if we aren't going to propose them being removed, why would somebody use this unique code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not a yes, no quick answer. You guys talked this through because you guys came up with this. So what was the decision? Tell me the rationale behind that decision.
Susan, what were you reading from? Which code were you reading from?
That was the comprehensive oral evaluation.
Okay.
It is a thorough evaluation and recording of the extraoral and intraoral hard and soft tissues.
I'm going to take this off screen for a second because I think this is where we have to look at this stuff, guys. Otherwise, I think, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
This is the way comprehensive oral evaluation currently reads. So what Susan was reading was
Above that first paragraph.
There it is.
Okay.
This does not specifically say oral cancer.
Right.
The second part is where it says the oral cancer.
Right.
Where indicated.
But where indicated. Yeah.
Okay. This is where indicated. Okay. So are you proposing to take this and create another code that is, because one of the things, Lucy, you brought up is that you kind of played it off the comprehensive perio code.
Yeah.
And are we proposing something that will be as confusing as the comprehensive perio code? Because has that not caused us all
Yes.
problems over the years?
Yeah, because we don't
Okay.
use it much.
Right, right. Because most of us don't know when do we use that? When does the 0180 come in? Right?
Right.
That's a question I get asked about 12,000. I've been asked about 12,000 times because it's not clear in here. So is there something that would need to be changed in here? That would mean that, if we find signs and symptoms or risk, then you got to use the other code. Do you see where I'm trying to go here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in my mind, we would then ask for this to be removed from here, where it starts with, this includes an evaluation for oral cancer where indicated.
Right, so that means we're removing any language that anybody knows about now for oral cancer,
Right.
and they're adding a new code, but they have no obligation to use that new code. At least at this point, and again, I'm just playing the devil's advocate too, is this requires them, supposedly, although nobody follows it up, but this really, I could definitely argue that if somebody has charged out the DO 150, they better have somewhere in their course, in their documentation, that they've done some level of evaluation of an oral cancer evaluation. I mean, this is where indicated is a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So Patty,
So is it better to have this eliminate where indicated?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I get where you're going with that.
Yeah.
And that this is just a code that's for everyone.
What?
It's a code for everyone, not just where indicated. So this kind of segmented it to the basics. So you're doing an oral cancer screening on the DO 150 code that just is the basics. Okay, yeah, there's an indicated, the patient mentioned, they've got this sore spot, so it's indicated that they did this evaluation for oral cancer. But it should be an automatic, then they jump to the additional code, that it's an automatic full screening of every person that sits in your chair, because it is something of growth that every time you turn around, that is increasing in the number of people who are being diagnosed with HPV and oropharyngeal cancers all across the board. So
okay, but I think you're mixing up some things here, Denise, because
okay.
because it's like you're going to jump from an evaluation to a screening, or does the word screening go in here? That this includes a screening for oral cancer with more definitive, or something rather along the lines of more definitive evaluation as necessary. I don't know. You see what I'm saying about going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, this is Liz. Can I just say something really quick? This is to Patty. Do they ever amend these things? I know this is a stupid question. Like, can they totally amend this comprehensive oral evaluation whenever they want?
Absolutely. It's not a stupid question at all. That you, Liz?
Yes.
Yeah, that was not at all a stupid question. It's exactly the codes you get new ones, they get deleted one, or they're revised. Many times it's about a revision. Now we asked for, even another group is working on, we asked for a revision of the oral cancer code to include vaping and other things, right? And they said no, in that case, they didn't want to revise that code because they felt that the vaping needed a thing in and of itself. But there's other times when we asked, and if you're on the call when we were talking about what each group is coming up with, like the Profi committee decided they don't want to do anything with the Profi codes much. All they want to do is do a major revision to the 4346.
So how do we ask them, like, let's say if we want to get rid of that whole second paragraph, would there be, is this how we do it, is by actually creating a brand new code, or is there another way?
No, sometimes it's a combination, but I'm glad you're asking for this clarification. Let me see if I can pull up something readily to show you. What did we do in the consortium? Let's see if I can pull it up here. groups videos.
The only reason why I'm
Wouldn't it be
asking,
easy, Patty, it's Kim. Wouldn't it be easier just to work with codes, the numbers we already have that most people are used to and comfortable with using, and revise some of them? I mean, like the saliva testing, there's a code for that. You know, as opposed to making new codes. I just think it would be really, it's just very confusing to a lot of people.
that's the reason why I brought this up.
Yes, and that's what,
And do we have a better shot of revising codes as opposed to entering new ones? Now, I get the
Exactly.
1446 code. There was such a big, in my opinion, such a big gap there from a pro fee to SRP. But, and like you said, on every new patient, most of the offices I temp at, and I do it, we always do an oral cancer screening. Some take it farther with Bell scopes, oral IDs, and stuff like that. Others do a visual. And a lot of dentists that I've worked for come in when they do their periodic exams, they do screen for oral cancer too. So I don't know. I'm just.
no, I think all of you are bringing up very valid points about, and you're beginning to understand now, it's a process thing. And I don't mean a slow process. I'm not talking about that. It's the process of how do we actually get something changed? I think Kim's point is extremely valid, that to get somebody to use a new code is very difficult because they just don't even know they exist. I think we're trying to change behavior with the code, and it just doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
This is already in there. Now, if we don't like the way it's written in there, we think it could be written better, then maybe that's a better route to take.
So here's,
Well, it's not only Patty, it's not already in there. It's a code that every dental office uses. And
No,
uses
that's what I'm saying, Kim.
on a daily
Yeah, but the wording's already in there about oral cancer.
Right.
Maybe it's just not the way we think it to be worded.
Right, that's my point. Okay.
Is it easier to amend versus getting a newer code in your experience?
It's not, well, the reason it's not, I don't know if easier is the right word, but when we're talking about people and behavior, it's about coverage. They're getting coverage for this, so they're going to use this.
Right.
They're not going to get coverage for a new code for multiple years, so they're not going to use it.
True.
Now, I'm not saying
I
that's
agree.
the reason why we should do something or not, but I think it's part of the overall consideration here.
so I have a question. So on this DO 150,
Uh-huh.
it's particular to it says used by a general dentist and or a specialist. And so the dental hygienist is left out of this code.
Right. But see, that's again, this is where, again, we may go, but then it goes into, can a dental hygienist perform an oral evaluation? This is the problematic, and let's talk about that again. Let me point this out. This is where the challenge comes in, and we have asked for a revision, not just in the codes, but in this general section. Here is the section that's the problem for us, is the evaluation, which includes a diagnosis and a treatment plan, is the responsibility of the dentist. That's what we've talked about in our other groups with, there's a whole group that's working just on this because there's language there that limits it. In what's interesting is in this code, in the periodic, it doesn't have that it's by the dentist,
Right.
but it does in here. What I think and again, that might be, and what's really funny is that this word is there, and I'm always learning about this, guys, is that the specialist, because one of the things in the very front of the book is that anybody can use these codes. It doesn't matter what your licensing is. If you're a dentist, you're a specialist or whatever, because many people thought that the perio maintenance thing, well, that's just a code. I mean, not you guys, but that's just a code for perio offices. No, it's not. Codes are codes. So this language in here, believe me, this whole thing has been argued and revised and revised and revised. Has it been revised in the last 5 years? No. Does it mean it's up for revision? Yeah, probably. When you've talked to other other coalitions, what have you gotten? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, about a code, a separate code.
And how far has the discussion gotten?
Well, with Dr. Nemechek here in Denver, he believes there should be a separate code. He's a MD, ENT, head and neck oncology surgeon. In our discussions,
He's used to at least 150,000 codes in ICD. That's just the diagnostic codes.
True.
Yeah. So again, he's going to see it differently. What about any dental? Anybody else talk to any other dentists or dental groups or other oral cancer groups?
I didn't get any responses back.
Me neither.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian Hill was the other one. He feels like there should be a separate code.
Okay.
A separate code regarding oral cancer?
For this,
or
for screening, assessment, evaluation.
Well, like you said, for a comprehensive exam, I mean, we're not allowed to diagnose. I mean, I'm in Illinois, right, with Patty. I mean, so I don't understand. I don't see how you can, we can, when it says using a general dentist and or a specialist evaluating, I mean, I guess, can't we evaluate as hygienists, but we're not allowed to diagnose?
Evaluation is defined as a diagnosis. We can gather data. Let me go back to that first part of how this is written. Codes in this recognize, blah, blah, blah. The collection and recording of some data and components of the dental examination may be delegated. However, the evaluation, which includes a diagnosis and treatment plan, is the responsibility of the dentist.
Yeah, see,
the revision that we put in and we tried to get is as per the Practice Act, as per what a Practice Act allows, because that gives flexibility. Because in some states you can, in some states you can't.
Right. Well, that should be in there, because if some states you're allowed to do it, we're not here, but in some states you can. If they're allowed to do it legally through their Practice Act, they should be able to do it now.
You would think so, but that's been our fight. That's been our fight. Okay. This one, again, there's language specific to a general dentist or a specialist they even have in there. Again, we can look at this and tear the stuff apart forever and a day. I think the strategy, I mean, we have literally 3 weeks to write our submissions. So where are we at?
So I have a question in comparing the DO 120 or whatever the other one was. So we were looking, I know one of the things we talked about was trying to create a metric for having some type of oral cancer evaluation or exam or screening, and the comprehensive oral evaluation, that there's very limited times you can use that. You have to have significant changes or a new patient.
But we have this one. That's easy for me to clarify for you. We have the periodic oral evaluation. If you read the language of that, you do on that all the same stuff, because it's an evaluation at a patient record to determine any changes. Okay, any changes means we got to check it all the same, because how do we know if it changed if we didn't check it?
But again, it's saying where indicated.
Yep.
So does that mean we don't necessarily have, I mean, how do we decide whether somebody needs perio screening or an oral cancer evaluation?
Exactly. It's language that was language that was a compromise. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not good language. It's lousy. But that's what it is, and that's what we have to decide, is what is the battle we want to choose to fight on this. Sorry about that.
Maybe we just take out where indicated. Out of the first one.
Well, it starts here, yeah.
Or both.
Thoughts, everybody else?
I think we kind of do it with the existing codes as opposed to a new code. That's just my opinion. Like, take out where indicated and
Michelle,
revise those as opposed to new code.
So why is there a separate one for a periodontal evaluation then? When this includes that too?
Good
Or
question
doesn't-
to which nobody has a good answer.
Right.
And it's one that is, right. Here's the other part too, is when their codes are separate, a contract, here's the way the thing is that what gets really frustrating about this is where it can get really being mixed up, the importance of codes for coverage versus metrics. The coverage, a lot of times policies are set for 2 evaluations a year, no matter what. That means if you came in and you had an emergency and you used the problem focused one or whatever, that means you have one less of an periodic even. That's why policies are written. Now, we shouldn't be thinking this through just from a policy perspective. One of the things I thought we said we wanted to do from the beginning with this is create an important metric.
Right.
And Susan, what was it? What was the thing again? Our goal was to help change behavior, right?
Right.
Yep.
The problem, though, still remains that this is all most people see. They see the nomenclature only because most of us only see it in our computers. And computer systems don't have the descriptors.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Mm-mm.
So are we going to be able to change behavior just by changing stuff in here that nobody sees anyway?
No,
Good point.
no. No, we're not.
So that sounds like then we do need to write a new code instead of changing
But
this.
again, how will a new code change behavior?
It'll make them look it up.
Good luck.
One thing about when a new code comes out, everybody's like, oh, there's a new code, there's a new code. And it gets some
Yep.
attention, you know?
Yeah, but
No,
then
there's not.
when the new
How many
code
of you know
comes
about the
out,
case? How do you know that about the 4 case management codes? Anybody here on this call know anything about the 4 case management codes that we
No.
have available to us now? You know
No.
that we have a sales tax code?
What?
We have a code for sales tax. Yes.
In CDT?
well, I heard that was coming.
Gotta be kidding.
No, I heard that was coming.
It's been there for a while. We have a code for missed appointments and broken appointments. Are you guys using them? Probably not. Because you didn't know they existed. That's the catch-22 on all this baloney. God, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm raining on your parade, and I'm not trying to, but guys, this is the reality that we have to look at and deal with
Yeah.
on this stuff. So going back to when we talked, because the other thing you said you're going to do is a risk assessment code, right?
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
But it might be a better combination. Again, I haven't thought through this as much as you had. But it's rather than where indicated, put at risk or something, and something that'll push them into using the risk assessment codes for oral cancer. Because I can see arguing that at that committee.
Now, say that again, because you cut out a little bit.
Something or other here on an evaluation for oral cancer as indicated by risk assessment. Okay? And then there's risk assessment codes, like there's the Carrie's risk assessment codes.
Mm-hmm.
So say we ask for that verbiage change and then submit for a risk assessment code.
Throwing that out there as an idea.
That's a good idea.
Weren't we trying to find if there were risk assessment codes?
I don't think there's codes, but
Or not codes, excuse me.
yeah,
That there are risk assessment being used?
I don't know if they're legit, but I found one on Phillips I sent to Susan.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
So,
Good.
you know, so I'm going to just be a devil's advocate here, is as indicated by risk assessment. So that means the office would, or the provider would have to do that additional step of the risk assessment, and then they would be determining whether or not to do the head and neck oropharyngeal cancer screening based on that. That's the way I'm just kind of looking at oh, well, they're not at risk, so we don't have to do that.
And that also could lead us into a new hygiene profession where we actually go into the offices and say, I'm here from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'm going to check to see if you've done your risk assessment for your oral cancer screenings to determine whether or not that patient should or should not have been screened. That could create a whole new ball of everything going on. I mean, I could walk into every office and say, hey, listen, I'm with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm here to audit you and to see if you're doing these particular procedures. One step further than what a Blue Cross would do. I think that dental offices need to be called on the carpet for the things that they are not doing. And this is
how does that change in medical? All of you probably have gone into a medical office within the most recent, within the last few years, and vital signs are more vital than they used to be. Okay, you have to be handed. Why is that? Because it was legislated through the federal government. That's the only reason why that stuff changed, guys. You don't change it through codes. That's I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. But the reason why those are called, oh God, I can't think of the term right now. But basically, if they don't do that and they haven't documented it, they have not established medical necessity, and therefore they will not get paid. That's why medical offices do it now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And until dentistry has that kind of requirement, but we don't even have the codes in here, even if we wanted to do it, even to establish the metric that we need to show what's going on, really.
Right.
Well, and we have Carrie's risk assessment codes, but do people even do Carrie's risk assessment and use them?
How much percentage of people do that?
How many of you that are practicing are using Carrie's risk assessment on a regular basis for all patients?
I did in public health, but in private practice, we did not.
No. Yeah.
Is anybody here using it?
I use it quite a bit on most of my patients. I wouldn't say every. I mean, if somebody's not having issues, I kind of ignore it. I mean, if I don't have time.
But you see that? But see, that's the behavioral part of it,
right?
It either is part of our standard for our evaluations, or it's not. Sometimes we use it if it's like who do we give fluoride to? Well, people with high caries risk. One of the things I was talking to, again, I just came from ADA talking to some of the Canberra guys. And they're right. We should have at least 6 categories of risk assessment for caries alone. We have 3 lousy ones on either low, medium, or high. Okay,
Right.
Usual fuzzy categories that we establish. What do we really? Even if someone's at low risk, they should be categorized. So how do we know they're at low risk unless we have some kind of a systematic way of establishing it?
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, this is why I do codes. What this discussion is the why for me. Because I don't care about codes. I care about helping us to really have that belief that we can have a caries-free world, that we can cure periodontal disease, and we can have a world with no oral cancer. But we got to have ways to set up systems. But then people have to follow those systems, and the only way they're going to be followed is they're required to, unfortunately, and their compensation is tied to it somehow.
Yep, that's true.
So here's a thought I just had. Tell me yay, nay, good, bad. So what if we asked for a change in the wording? And so it would say something like, this includes an evaluation for oral cancer along with, and that's not the right word, but along with a risk, to include a risk assessment. Includes an evaluation for oral cancer, including a risk assessment, but reword it in some way. And you know what, the reason I just thought of that is I had my mammogram not too long ago, and I went in, and before they even took me back, there was a 22, they handed me a tablet, 22 questions that they wanted me to answer, and it was a risk assessment.
Yep.
It was a risk assessment, but it didn't mean that they did not do the mammogram. That was just along with the mammogram to give them further information. So they were it was clumped together.
How about then this includes an oral cancer risk assessment and evaluation.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Period. Not where indicated.
Yeah, because we don't know where it's indicated. It could be down their throat and we can't see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
This includes an oral cancer risk assessment and evaluation. That
Yeah,
really strengthens that, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yep.
makes sense.
So, question.
Now, here's the thing about oral cancer. When Lucy, I'm going to pull your screen up again because one of the things I think Lucy did is, I'm giving you a screen, Lucy, is in
Okay.
her draft, there was the terms we talked about from the beginning about oral pharyngeal or whatever. Are we going to put that in there?
Is
Lucy,
it up?
you can take the screen.
Is it up?
I gave it to you. No, it's not. No.
I can't find it. Hang on a second. I lost it. Can you?
Probably behind the other windows.
Okay. I'm looking like I'm losing my go-to meeting. Shoot. I just lost the whole screen. Hang on. I'm sorry. I lost the screen. I don't know what happened. I've
It's okay.
totally
I'll take it
lost.
back. All good.
Okay.
All good.
Okay.
No big deal. You know, not everybody's used to having 400 windows open at the same time.
Yeah. It just,
Here, Patty,
Because what do you think about that part? Is this
I found it in
includes
my email.
a,
If you want me
What?
to share, I found Lucy's.
you have anything in your email?
Yeah. If you want me to share it.
well,
Send it to me real quick and I'll pull it up.
sorry.
It's all right. It's all good.
I am not good at this. Let's see.
Nobody is on this committee because we're computer experts, okay?
Thanks,
Can you
Patty.
send it to me, Susan? What?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. Then we can look at it. Because I think that part of what Lucy wrote is really the language. Now, the other part, well, I'm getting that. Then what about the risk assessment? Are we going to put and create a specific risk assessment code? Are we ready to do that? Have we gotten, I noticed that Lucy, she said risk assessment per risk assessment tool. What risk assessment tool are we talking about?
Well, the only thing I could find was this thing on Philip's website that I sent to Susan, and they basically had it set up similar to the ADA Carries risk assessment, where it was disease factors, risk factors, and what's the other one with the ADA? There's the like the protective factors.
Right.
They kind of had it set up like that.
Okay, what we got to do is get the science behind that. That's a
Right.
tool, but it's like they're not going to recognize a company's tool.
No,
Um,
no, I know that. It was the only thing I could find that was actually a risk assessment
Right.
tool.
Their specific risk assessment.
Yeah.
Right. Did you send it to me, Susan?
Yes. Did you get it?
I don't know. We'll all see here in a second.
There it is.
There we go.
Did you get it?
Huh?
Yep.
Come on, thing open. Doesn't want to open from there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See, when you guys do happens to the rest of you guys, no, it's all fine. When this happens to you guys, y'all think it's your fault. It's not. It's technology. It doesn't always work exactly how it's supposed to. So it came in, but it didn't exactly come in. Didn't open completely.
Here it is. It's
There
right
it is. Yeah. There it is. Okay. Come on, baby, open. Sorry about that. I'm open 14 other things at the same time, not on purpose. Come on. Keep talking about risk assessment while I fart around trying to get this stuff to be open here. Talk about risk assessment.
So, okay, it's Denise. So I'm
When you were
thinking,
talking, Michelle, let's go back to.
hey guys,
Yeah.
it's Denise again. I'm thinking that when we're talking risk assessment, if we put it in both the 0120 code and the 0150 code, then that's going to make dental offices actually more required to do, again, required to do something, but they also have to have the appropriate documentation. And not many places have a good risk assessment for anything. The only dental office that I've ever known that routinely does risk assessment, not just for caries, but for cardiovascular disease, for periodontal disease, is Dr. Susan Maples, and I think she's in Michigan.
Yep.
And that's the only office that I've ever seen that actually the patients go online even before their appointments, fill out all the risk assessments. So even before they walk in the door, all the risk assessments have been taken care of ahead of time. Wow. And it's for everything. But I don't think I've ever seen her do an oral cancer risk assessment. I'm going to have to check her website again and see if she's got one there, because if she does, then why would we want to create a new one? We can just use from what she's got, instead of, creating the wheel all over again.
Yeah.
And she's always willing, as far as I knew, to share.
I don't know why I'm frozen, guys, but I am. It just doesn't want to open up for me. Let me try it again. The question on that is, there are, it's not like there aren't any risk assessments around, or cancer risk assessments. There are. Do we want to make it a unique code? The difference is in the consider is the risk assessment, the caries risk assessments. See, it just doesn't want to open. I just think I have too many things open at this point. Anyway,
Patty, I've got it open on my computer if you want to give me.
Okay, you pull it up then. Because the question we were trying to get to there, Susan, and Lucy and everybody else. Okay, I gave it to you, Susan.
Okay.
Is if we're talking about revising this comprehensive code, do we want to add it to also, but do it on the bottom, not on, don't change the fonts. Yeah. Your little bar there. On the
There it goes.
bottom.
Oop.
There you go.
Is that better?
There we go. Okay. Do we want to also make it a head, neck, oral? Because I think didn't we already change it to head, neck, oral, and oral pharyngeal?
Yeah.
I had changed it on my page, but now this is the original. So just
That's fine. No, what I'm saying is to add, when we talk about changing that code, though, we want to say and also add this. Did you see what I'm trying to get to?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And here's why, because, I've been reading through some stuff on the ADA and different places, and they are starting to differentiate oral being anterior portion of the mouth, oral pharyngeal, the posterior portion of the mouth. So just in my mind, I don't know, I'm anxious to see what you guys say, but in my mind, yes.
Okay.
What do you guys say?
So Michelle?
It needs to say oral, yes.
No, I'm soaking this all in and pretty much in agreement with.
How about you, Rhoda? Nope. No, Rhoda?
I've been on mute.
Oh.
Yes.
We don't want you mute. We want your opinion.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, to add that, Kim, what do you think?
I'm unmuting too. I'm listening. I agree too. I think it needs to be in there.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna take the screen back then, and what we're talking about then is here, this includes not an oral cancer evaluation, it's a head, neck, oral, and oropharyngeal evaluation. What? See, this is where we got to figure this out, is how does this language go? But here's, no. Again, we'll change things behaviorally, because how our office is going to know that this got redefined?
Probably not.
That.
The only way an office knows that it got redefined is when a dental insurance company literally sends something out and says, hey, look, the code has been changed. Please review. So getting in touch with the insurance companies that are prominent and say, listen, guys, these codes have changed. Are you aware?
They do that every year, Denise, all of them.
Right, exactly.
But that doesn't mean that changes the behavior of the office. Because
Yeah,
right now it says this is in here already. I mean,
I would love to go into all the offices and find them all
and
if they're not.
and how many offices? If it isn't written, it isn't. You know, how many people with perio are not ever diagnosed? Hello.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Now we're asking them to do something different that, well, it should be done, but they're not doing.
Well, but we've got the power of social media and a lot of different things, to help with that.
Yeah, if people are on social media.
Yeah.
Well, the
and-
majority of offices uses the 150 and 120 code. That's it. They do. Unless a kid comes out and it gets knocked in the mouth or something like that, they will use like even a different.
Or do we?
Or do we make it our mission to contact as many dental offices out there and let them know via email, via whatever, social media, that the codes have changed? You need to review, or you're in jeopardy of not following.
I've written books on it.
Yeah, they just don't do it.
I've written books on it. I've done all those stuff. And does it mean it changed?
No.
Some. And how many? Yeah. How many? Oh,
Well, guys, when they get,
which doesn't
when the U.S. Marshals show
the
up,
whole thing. One of the problems with this code. What?
I didn't hear that.
One of the problems with this code is it's so wordy and it seems to be duplicated. It's like here it says recording extraoral, intraoral, or hard and soft tissues. And then down here, why is this stuff double in here? What is the purpose of all these words here?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're actually talking about is add even more.
I think the only way a dental office actually will start to comply with what needs to be done is like an office that I was just going to start coaching back in California when 20 U.S. Marshals showed up at her office with guns blazing, and they walked in her door, shut the doors down, and said, you are committing fraud. We need to have your computer. We need everybody's cell phones. Everybody was secluded. And she's still in the point of possibly, now mind you, the dentist did not know, but the front area was committing the fraudulent activity because they were doing things in order to get paid that were not even being completed. So she still could do some jail time And that's the only way these doctors actually will learn a lesson is if they're threatened with jail time. You guys got to do these things.
Mhm. And that comes down to ethics and
So what you're saying is we can't legislate ethics, no. Yet, if our goal is to help change behavior, does that mean we just say, oh, well, it is what it is?
Absolutely not.
No.
It is not.
No. You gotta try.
And does this thing need just to be reworked? Because it's it's like the first half is, I think, what something was, and then the second half of this reads like a laundry list, but not a very well written laundry list.
Yeah, I think you're right, Patty, that it all needs to be reworked. And
But I also think, this is Denise again, I also think that not only do we need to rework this, we need to hit them with as many guns as we can and go in and rework it and show them that we want to change the verbiage that's already written here. But we also need to have a separate code, I think, as well. I think there need to be two to see which one we can actually get passed through the legislation and through the coding committees. I don't think we should just do one thing. I think we should hit them with as many as we can. So if we do this, the 0150, then we got to change the 0120, and then we go ahead and hit them hard with the new code and including risk assessment that makes dental offices have another opportunity. That's just my opinion.
I second that, Denise. Like that.
What does everybody else think? Just do one thing, or do we want to hit them with everything?
but then are we going to really confuse them?
Well,
Could that be the best thing to do, is to confuse them and say, hey, listen, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, let's just do it, and we get it past the accident?
Yeah. Denise, I think it shows that we mean business. I don't know if that matters.
I don't hear anybody else.
I don't know what to say.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here. Patty just called me. She lost connection, so she's gonna try to get back on.
I thought maybe she was just waiting for us to pick up the slack.
Hello?
Patty.
Hello.
It got
I'm
very-
back.
Yeah.
Well, so here's my thought.
I'm here again.
Okay, I agree with Denise. I think we should rework these and also submit a code. Whether we're going to call it evaluation or screening. It's not going to be screening because that's.
Okay, you guys have 3 weeks to do that.
I know. Maybe we can do at least one tonight.
You have 3 weeks to get that done.
So Patty, clarify for me again. Evaluation means diagnosis in their terms.
Evaluation, as per this, goes back to this clinical evaluation section. The collection and recording of some components of the dental examination may be delegated. However, the evaluation, which includes diagnosis and treatment planning, is the responsibility of the dentist.
Okay.
There we go. So an evaluation includes a diagnosis and treatment planning.
So if
You didn't write it, you didn't do it.
Okay, so if we're gonna submit a separate code, it would need to be then a screening code to include the hygienist in that. Am I thinking
Not
that?
necessarily, but see, this is what we've argued and what was said at the coding committee this year is even if the language, because this is already problematic for hygienists in your state
Yeah.
of Colorado as well as Oregon. Why? Because they are established providers and they can submit. And it's been cleared by carriers that they can submit. But because what the committee said is that practice acts trump codes. Yet by this language being here, it still can be problematic. And one of the things that we're trying to do is find hygienists that have had their claims actually rejected based on this language.
Mm.
You also start to see how this is a multi-year process.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
why legislation takes so long, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We had, think about it, if we had some guidance even from our own ADHA House of Delegates policy, that it's already been argued. It's been, but that doesn't mean that's the language we can establish here or use here necessarily. But this is the process, and it's not an easy process, but it does need to be fixed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But is this also and again, it was argued at the last full meeting of everybody, are we better off taking a baby step and getting other people, because we don't have coalitions, guys, we got nothing. Because
No.
if you're talking about changing this one, that's huge, and we better have somebody else doing that with us. Because face it, that's the banana every single office uses. And we're talking about changing those that, I don't know, the most used codes are what? The evaluation codes and the prophy codes.
So if we just,
150 and 120.
if we just change some of the wording, like we talked about in that second paragraph, instead of rewriting the whole thing, would that be a baby step? Or is that not even worth
Or the
it?
rest of you guys think?
Well, getting
Yeah.
out where indicated is huge.
Start.
Mm-hmm.
Denise?
Code.
So I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, if we did this, yes, it could be a baby step if we change some of the wording in here, not change all the words, because they're going to fight on all the words. But if we change the biggest ones right now, like the part that says this includes, I was thinking it says this includes a risk assessment and evaluation for extra, oral cancer, and oropharyngeal cancer. And then it leads into, gives you all of it. And that's all you would change. And then do that for this year.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to budge on if you change the entire thing. But if you change just a few of the words and get rid of where indicated, because that's not necessarily what we are looking for. It's not indicated because we don't know where it is indicated until we do a risk assessment or we look. So it's not where indicated. So why would I choose, say, okay, this 6-year-old is coming in here and he's got all these little lesions on here, but because it's not indicated, I'm not looking. So
yeah,
I'm thinking in terms of just changing the few words in the beginning and just say, this includes a risk assessment and evaluation for intra/extra oral cancer and oropharyngeal cancer. And it includes it all. And then it gets right into and recording of the patient's dental and medical history and a general health assessment, and stop. Not do anything else this time.
Okay, Kim, what's your opinion?
I kind of agree with that, because I'm just thinking from an insurance aspect, Patty, and I know codes are not about compensation, but the name of the game, that's what it is. It isn't like this is going to cost extra money, like from that kind of standpoint. So I think if we just change the verbiage a little bit and stuff, and kind of tweak the code, and like Denise said, which I liked what she said, I think then it gives time, like a baby step, for people to become aware of the code, just like it's coming through the 4346 code. I mean, I've attempted an office. Every office I go into and I temp, Patty, we've had breakfast before. I asked them, what about the 436 code? Do you guys charge out for that? Because I go in as a temp and my patients are 4346. and I do everything I need to do and stuff, but I just do it for my own curiosity. And they said more and more now, I have offices telling me we are getting coverage on that 4346 code. And I know that's not what this is about. I get it. But that's what drives the ship. I'm sorry, but it does. And
It is. And don't be apologetic at all, Kim. You're absolutely right.
You know,
Absolutely right.
So every office I go in and I temp, which that's pretty much what I do now. I go, do you guys, I ask everybody, you know, by lunchtime, I'm like, you know, do you guys do the 4346? Do you guys use that? Because, you know, I get a morning under my belt and, you know, heck, I look at the schedule for 10 minutes and I see, okay, 40-minute pro fees. Okay, right there, you know what kind of an office it is. You know, yeah, I mean, you know, I can walk in an office in 5 minutes, tell you the PSO and what's going on just by looking at the schedule and looking at the notes on my first patient.
Sure.
I mean, so
Absolutely.
in that respect, but, you know, by tweaking.
You're doing a screening then, aren't you? You're screening the office that way.
Yeah, I know. I know. They see me roll in my stool, though, and they're like, you're serious. I go, yes, I am.
Damn straight you are.
Lucy, what's your thought, Lucy?
Yeah, I think that would be good. My only concern again is we're not creating.
What's your point of view?
We're not creating the metric. That's the only thing, but maybe that's for a future change or code.
Okay. Michelle? No,
I'm
just
in
sitting back,
agreement.
just listening. We need an opinion here.
No, yes, no, I agree that
I'm
this is a good small step, and
Minor TC, okay. Okay. Rita? Rhoda? Or anybody
I could be
Rita.
I could be Rita today.
We called you last thing, girlfriend.
Just don't call me Rhonda. That's my biker ego chick. So when you said you wanted to change the whole thing, I just about hung up with a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's just such a big mountain. I don't think I have hiking boots for that. Oh my God, kill me now. So thank you. I like it. Short and sweet, because I think committee members have squirrels all over and they don't have enough time to pay attention.
You're absolutely right. So as a baby step then, do we want to say, this includes an oral evaluation and risk assessment for oral cancer? Or do we want to put oral and oral pharyngeal? Is that too far? Remember, Susan, you're the one that said that Brian Hill said that might cause us a challenge.
Yeah, he said saying head and neck. Good. But I liked what Denise said with intra-oral and extra-oral. And
you said head and neck would cause us, right.
Because most people, you guys have to think about this. If you don't specify
oral and oral pharyngeal,
they're not going to do both. They're going to look at one or the other. They're not going to look outside. They're going to look only inside. So I always like to specify.
Right, and saying intra-oral and extra-oral, using extra-oral instead of head and neck, I think is a good good direction to go in.
I also think
language is in there in 2 places already, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, how many of you screen when you do your oral cancer thing? All the time. How many look at the thyroid? Everybody.
Yeah.
Right? People turn in large thyroid right away. That's down the neck. I mean, it's just, you know, so I don't like just oral. I don't know what Brian Hill says or whatever, but I think it has to be more than just oral, because I know that, you know, for the TMJ even, you stick your fingers in their ears and, you know, the popping and stuff, and you do all that stuff, and the thyroid and stuff like that. So it's oral is just associated in the mouth, the teeth. That's what, in the mouth.
Would we keep it simple by calling it oral and oral pharyngeal?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to ask Brian Hill, Susan, who how to do it, but it's not just oral. I just think something should be changed there.
Right.
You know what do we have to lose except for having it, if they don't like the pharyngeal, if we put it in there for this year, so then we take it out for next year to get some, or we leave it out this year.
But it's okay. There's also, Denise, what you brought forward though, is also how it can go with the negotiation. It's like,
Right.
well, okay, we'll drop it. If would you be okay if we put risk assessment and evaluation for oral cancer versus oral and oral pharyngeal? I mean, we could add all the words, but be open to the flexibility of changing it. Again, This is such a long laundry list already.
Yeah. So if we said this includes.
So the other thing too is we don't have to decide everything, because you guys can write it up, and even with our group, the full group, do a compromise too, depending on the majority of what the full group thinks.
Yeah.
True.
I think that what we're doing is giving more clarification. It's bringing that laundry list into a better way of looking at that laundry list. Yes, there is a laundry list on here, but now we're getting rid of this crazy verbiage of where indicated, and it's not just where indicated. That's what just drives me the most crazy.
Right.
And I think that what we're looking at is just giving something more clear. Hey, listen, guys, this is what they're saying. This is going to include a risk assessment and evaluation for intra and oral. It's going to give them both. So
What if we just, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. What if we just asked to strike where indicated?
Well, we are definitely all in agreement of that.
yeah.
Yep.
So why don't you guys write it up the various ways? It sounds like the consensus of the group at this point is what we need to change is this sentence right here.
Yeah, exactly.
This includes, if just not even the whole sentence, it's just, and why don't you write it up a bunch of different ways? And I'm not saying, I don't know who the you is, I'm not talking to anybody in particular, and then pass it around between us and have it visually in front of us so that we can see each of those options.
Yep.
Because we need to, you guys gotta nail this, because filling out the forms is no easy thing that you're just gonna be able to slap together, and there's 3 weeks. That's all we have.
Do you want to just do the comprehensive, or are we looking at the other one as well, the 0120?
No, we need to change that one too, I think, because it has that same verbiage where
Same verbiage, yeah.
Yep.
I think it's both.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's not that hard. When you change one, you just have to write up the argumentation on one, and then you put the other.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe by Wednesday, we all submit, or how do we want to work this? Give us a day or two, or another call and just talk about it?
I think we got to start doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like by Wednesday, have some
Yeah,
idea.
and I'll put up, yeah.
Yeah.
Who can specifically maybe write down these ideas and play these ideas over in a list so that we can look at it? Like this is just on a Word doc. It's like, it says this and this is this, it does this. For the rewriting of this sentence only. Of this right here, right?
Yep.
Yep. Anybody have any bandwidth to do that in the next 2 days?
I can do that. It's Denise.
Okay, so
And I also-
the day we're having, because we have a
Mastermind on Tuesday.
By
Oh, it's
Wednesday, you will have just send it in the committee that these are our options.
Okay. I'll give several options on how
So
this
Susan
could
will-
be worded.
Committee.
And then Susan, you and I could have
Be our
a,
next.
sorry, Patty, you're going in and out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh.
I'm not saying anything.
That's why. So how about this? I'll put some options together on that first line, and there's one word I may want to take out too. It's the second sentence where it says it may include. I don't like it may. So I think that, you know, if I look at, I'll send several things, Susan. Let's have a conversation, you and I, maybe Tuesday, and I'll show you what I have written, and then we can, you know, send it out to the group and be done and be finished, and just say, all right, guys, this is it. Let's rock and roll. Let's pick, choose, write, delete, and then be done with it, and then give a final one and be finished.
That sounds great.
Are we gonna do that by email
When
or?
you say give
Dropbox?
final one be finished,
Say that again, Patty. I'm sorry.
when you say be finished, all you're gonna be finished is with your initial decision, so you can, because now it's all gotta be written up. Now you gotta get all the, I got all your documentation behind it, all your blah, blah, blah.
So at least we have this. This is a start.
Our meeting on the 29th. Why don't you be, rather than screwing around with Dropbox, why don't you guys do this by email this
Yeah.
time?
Yes, I agree.
Great,
Yeah,
please.
learn like Dropbox, because the other thing about Dropbox, it can be very idiosyncratic. I might have to get on with each one of you to see how you have it downloaded on your computer. I can tell you general information, but I've shown you guys that before, so.
Okay.
This has got some, we gotta get to this now. And are you going to do something with risk assessment, or is this the thing that this committee is deciding to do now?
I kind of think we should, just in my opinion, I think we should stick with this for right now and see what comes about with this, and then start addressing risk assessment maybe next year. What does
For a new
everybody?
code. Yeah, I agree. As far as, you know,
I was gonna say, if we put anything in there regarding risk assessment, then do we need to have risk assessment codes or not?
No, you don't. You don't have to have
Okay.
risk assessment folks
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Okay. So my suggestion is that if Denise, you can get that written up and sent to everybody by Wednesday. When are you planning to have the next meeting, Susan?
Well, I was going to ask you guys if next Sunday, the 15th in the evening, I probably won't be home yet. So if you guys want to do it the 15th, or we could do it the 16th on Monday.
Let me see. I can do the 16th.
So can I. It's Denise.
This is Lucy.
Okay.
okay, Michelle, I'm good.
Rhoda, can you do Monday the 16th?
Monday, the 16th, I might be driving, but I will try. The 16th or the 15th? I'm sorry.
16th.
Monday.
16th Monday.
Got it. Yeah, 16th. Yes, I will listen in. Thank you.
Okay.
And Patty, then what else do we need on that document? I can't think off the top of my head, but besides the change.
A lot to do, guys, and that's why I'm gonna really encourage you to get this nailed, because, okay, remember I said the easy way to do ADA, to get into the 5, do it just, you go to CTL, then you've got to look at what all needs to be done. It's a form to fill out, okay? Because that's a full committee to, okay?
Yep.
And, no, not the publication. Okay, so Susan, from your perspective as a leader, maybe if you have those papers ready for the next meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
And in the Dropbox, again, goes into the Dropbox again, guys. I have samples in there of what we did last year, so that we can look at them to get an idea of how you write them. See this, let me show you again.
Yep.
Okay, these guys. So this was submitted, and you guys need to have the nomenclature. Okay, ours is going to be a revision. You got to put the whole name in here where it is. You put in the descriptor. Now this is for something new. Let me see if I can show you one that's a strikeout or revise. Here's one where that's a new one. It says revised, but it's not. These are just ours. Where is our revise? Oh, I know why, because these are the whole. What number was our submission? 40. There's silver. Trying to find. Trophy. Scaling. These are all ours from last year's. It's not jumping the way it's supposed to. But see, out of deletion, what I'm trying to get to, if I ever get there, is this is the way, and again, if you've done any kind of process in ADHA, this is the way you write them up, is it you strike through and that's red what you don't want, the blue is what you do want, that's the substitution, but then you need to have the rationale, okay? Then you need to add, now that's a whole other rationale, then you have to have case studies and blah, blah, blah. This is additional information. We don't have to flood them with too much. This, but we have to decide what we're going to put in here, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's how we tried to get rid of the dentist last year, that dentist language, and dental professional in accordance with state practice acts. We tried perio maintenance last year. We didn't get anywhere. But that's all right. We're going to keep going back at it. So, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
All right.
Hello. We're here.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Monday the 16th at 7 for our meeting. Denise and I will talk on Tuesday, and then we'll get that mail out.
And then what is the committed date that everybody's going to give me the reply back? By the next meeting or before that, so you can compile the information?
Probably before.
Before that.
Yes.
There you go. You guys can decide that, but ask, if you're going to have it compiled and ready, maybe if you send it out on Wednesday, if everybody commit to having it back to them by Saturday or something like that. But decide that. Okay?
Patty,
Time goes, we're all crazy busy. I know it.
Patty, I have another
Yep.
question in relation to somewhere further down. There's the what we use for not the rationale, but like where you cite studies in that. So should we be putting together some of the things that
Yep.
we had pulled earlier and send those also to Susan ahead of time? Don't we need?
Don't, because I don't want it to be that this is not going to be through those and writes this thing. But we all rationale. If Denise and Susan are working on this to decide the language, can you maybe look through, and I don't know who, because I know somebody worked with you that done that before, but how can you guys together, somebody on this committee, work on the rationale part so that you can go back, and because just putting all the stuff in willy-nilly, the more specific it is, the shorter it is, the better it is. Again, rationale your question, your persuasive argument to the CMC for why you want, in our case, this revision. What are the most important parts of that stuff that you saw that you think is the most, that's going to make sway?
So I can take the articles that I had found and I can try to.
Last year is we had way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, who else looked up stuff? I think Kim did that with you, didn't she? Lucy?
I don't know who else did. I know I pulled a few things, so I can try to work through those. And then we could see who else did, found some articles, and we can kind of, maybe I'll put something together on what I found, and then we can cull from that just to get something on paper. And if anyone
Yes,
else,
that's what we need to do, is now it's time to get this stuff on paper.
right. So if anybody
Okay.
else has articles they found in relation to the oral cancer screenings, if they can come up with some of those too, and we can try to combine them. And then pick
I've got some things I'll send you, Lucy.
okay.
Well, what's going to be the most important that supports the reason for this revision? That's the lens we have to look through.
Yeah.
Not just all statistics on oral cancer.
No, I know.
Why do we think that this revision needs to be written this way?
Okay. All right. I'll go back through my stuff.
Okay. All right. Are we good then, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Patty. Awesome.
all right. All right,
Thank you.
guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Good job, everybody.
Thanks, Patty.
Susan, want to close?
Yep. Thank you, everybody. Awesome.
I'll talk to you Tuesday,
All right.
Susan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.